Hello and welcome to the Star Trek convention. I am your unofficial host, Heather Ferris, and I am joined by Fred and Rocky, and we are here to give you the Rat Pack panel. I am so excited about this that we just need to get right into it. So, let's get started.
Hey, thanks for sticking around this final day here, huh? Yes. This is where most of the fun takes place anyway, doesn't it? Most of the fun, the final day, all the prices get cheaper in the dealer's room. I'm going in. We get funnier.
Yes, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to ask these guys a few questions, and then of course we'll open it up to all of you. But I was asking them before you came out, how many once again have seen the Rat Pack? How many are coming tonight to see the Rat Pack?
We got some new material. We've got some new material.
Yes, it's going to be a fun and interesting night. You probably already heard this. Mr. Armin is working, and we'll get to that, in Salt Lake City, so he can't join us tonight. But Nana Visitor is going to join us at the Rat Pack tonight. I'm
sorry, Armin, she's much prettier than you are.
Much more talented as well.
Well, no.
Oh, come on.
So I'm going to start with Max, because you really are the driving force behind the Rat Pack. You write most of the songs.
To be the boss of the Rat Pack.
Oh.
I want them to listen to us.
So I'm kind of interested as to how you come up with the songs. What's your first thought process? Do you pick a song that you like and know the lyrics to already, and then you write the lyrics for it?
He sits down, he has a little vodka, he, takes the song and he rhymes some words.
I don't know. I can only tell you that when I was in the 5th and 6th grade, kids in my class wrote funny parodies, and they got a lot of attention. Oh. The teacher said, "That's great, David, that's great, Ruben," and I thought, I want a little bit of that. I want a little bit of that's great, Max, that's great. So that's where that came from in me, to do that.
That's interesting.
You also pick some pretty cool music to put it to. I get the feeling that you hear something you like, and then start looking for words to fill it. That basically it.
Yeah.
Poetry action going on.
I have to think. Well, come back to me a little bit.
Okay, I'll come
But you have also Jeff has written songs for it. Vaughn has written songs. I've written songs.
My favorite song in our show was written by Casey and Vaughn. The song about can I say it?
Mr. Sulu, yes.
Mr. Sulu. That is my favorite.
There you go.
So that's true. These guys write a bunch of songs.
Oh.
Jeff will not do my songs. So Jeff writes his own songs.
Yes, he does.
He's allergic to my songs.
Jeff has a new song tonight.
That's because Max came to me one time and said, "I want to write a song for you." And I said, "Fine, Max, just make it a little more rock and roll, okay?" And he said, "All right." And he came back to me and he said, "Do you know Donna Summer's looking for some hot stuff?" I said, that would be disco, Max. That would be disco.
Casey and I, at the moment, are in the process of writing some more songs for our band, the Enterprise Blues Band.
The third Enterprise Blues Band CD. It'll be out in probably February.
Yeah, so we're looking for new material.
Okay.
We've got one called Boom, 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 Boom. And I'm not going to tell you what it's about.
Okay, there's a song, Rubber Ducky, from Sesame Street.
Yes.
It's true. I think most of the songs that I pick, I like. So I always like Rubber Ducky. You're no fun. So I thought when we were in the makeup, they called the big head that we wear a rubber butt head. So from Rubber Ducky to Rubber Butt Head is not a big leap. Rubber Butt Head, you're no fun. You only bring me aggravation. Rubber Butt Head, I'm not very fond of you. I can't deny it. I can't pretend. My head looks just like my rear end. And everybody who's listen to. Armin did a great job with that song.
Yes. Thank you, Max. So, moving on here. This is not about the Rat Pack, but Armin, will you please share with us what you've been doing the last few months?
Yet here, Laertes, aboard for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory look thou character. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. For loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry.
Polonius, congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, and these are
females.
They don't have microphones on that stage, do they? Which is why he was so loud just now.
No, but tell us where you're performing and what shows you're doing.
I'm lucky enough to be working just up the road, about 175 miles. And if you're driving back or on your way through Utah, I'm at a place called Cedar City, which has the Utah Shakespeare Festival. I will be there until October the 13th. And obviously we're doing Hamlet, but I'm also involved in a production of the Scottish play. And we start rehearsals for a new production of The Price by Arthur Miller. Like most of the actors on Star Trek, I have a theater background, as all these guys do as well. And I much prefer to work on stage than I do in front of a TV camera. So this is a great delight for me. And if you're driving through there, please do stop by. There are 8 productions going on during the course of the next couple of weeks. And we would love to see you. Thank you.
Are you playing Duncan?
Thank God. I play the porter.
The comic relief.
Jeff, you just got back from Europe filming something, right?
Bulgaria. Yes, it kind of came out of nowhere. I was sitting around my pool, and a call comes in, and they asked me to guest star on a TV show that's on the CW now called Pandora. So really, and so I went to Bulgaria and laid something down and got back before I even knew what was happening. Short, quick, fast.
What's that on the CW?
The CW. You're maybe a little too old to know about the CW. I did it last week. I got back Sunday, the last Sunday, a week ago. Thank you. It was a whirlwind.
Casey, you are in how many different bands? I can't keep track of how many bands you're in. Can you tell us about them?
Enterprise Blues Band,
Yeah.
the Rat Pack, the Paso Wine Man Band, the Paso Wine Man Jazz Band, and we're playing a lot. Yeah, it's thrilling. I just said to Vaughn when we walked out here, do you guys feel this way? Same way? It's so great to walk out on the stage, isn't it? On a live stage in front of live people. Now, how many of you guys did that virtual reality thing? Anybody do it? That was fascinating. I did it and Jeff did it, and you go in there and we're talking to these avatars from all over the world. They're in this room.
Did you look down at yourself?
I did, and
I was like, oh, I'm wearing ripped jeans.
He does that often.
Yeah, I look down at myself, and I'm not even going to go there.
That's what she said.
But it was a fascinating thing. It was a fascinating thing to realize how that's going to take us into the future, where you can walk into a room in your head, and you can be with 40 people from all over the world who look like fairies or alligators or this.
We did that when we worked, didn't we?
Yes, we did. But that was really fascinating. But anyway, what did your question was about the band? Music. Music is a big part of all of our lives. I mean, it's like the music of the spheres. Shakespeare is music. It's all. And did you ever sit there and realize, how can we get so interested in somebody holding an extended tone? You think about somebody like Frank Sinatra. He became a god to people because he had a good voice. And we respond to that. Isn't that interesting? I find that so interesting. Anyway.
And Vaughn, you write a lot of songs too for the Enterprise Blues Band and others. What's your theory? How do you begin? Like Max kind of shared with us. What's your process?
You should get back to me on that. No, actually, my sister-in-law gave me a ukulele. And I wanted to do something at the conventions other than just talk about a lot of stuff I don't know about. So I started fooling around with the St. Louis Blues, and then I thought, this is a great riff. Let's put Enterprise Blues to it instead. Let's make it Enterprise Blues. And that was the first song. After that, the poetry, so to speak, just came out. I just would find a riff playing on the ukulele, and then, traveling through space, for instance, it was just a nice, slow little riff that I invented just by plucking different strings and tried to find rhyming words that meant something. Nothing serious. I guess traveling through space is kind of serious.
It has a moral. It has a moral.
They all have a moral. It's all about
Red shirt, boogie blues.
yes. It's all Star Trek Woman Jones. If you haven't heard it, you should get the CDs somewhere. They're pretty cute, actually. We did a good job.
Yeah, very good.
But I make the poetry. I find the riff, make the poetry that fits it, and that's what I do.
Right. Interesting. Casey and I were talking, how did this whole Rat Pack thing start?
Well, you should know it was Lolita's idea in the first place. How many years ago? 10 years ago?
Well, it's 10 years that we've been here, but did we do it anywhere else before that?
We've
We've been all over the world with this show.
First place was in Vegas, but it was in Seattle.
The Stratosphere. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then the Hilton.
I'm sorry?
We did it in Phoenix, she said, before that, but we were all on drugs, so we don't remember. That's not true. That's not
Well, we've been very fortunate. Yeah, we've been very fortunate to literally take it all over the world.
And we're still doing it. And the fun thing is it doesn't get, you guys don't get tired of it, right?
No.
And we keep coming up with new music. And I tell you what's so funny. It's the essence of what the Rat Pack guys in the 60s did. A bunch of buddies get up and get to stand on stage and have fun and let the audience have fun, entertain them, entertain each other. I mean, that's the essence of what the whole Rat Pack thing is. Plus, it's in our contract that they have to serve us 2 cocktails per show.
That's right. That's the most important part.
We did start out trying to entertain the audience, and I found myself being so entertained by these guys. That is a true statement. Yeah. We have a lot of fun up there just
We
watching.
never know what the hell's going to come out of our mouths anyway. That's what's
It's
so good.
different every time. That's kind of the beauty of it. So I'm minding time too, and I want to make sure we get to some questions. Anybody have any questions at the mics yet?
There's somebody.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my question is for Jeff.
I love your costume.
Thank you.
Long live the Dominion.
Yes. My favorite episode in Deep Space Nine is Treachery, Faith, and the Great River. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. It's the best. And I was just wondering what it was like for you as an actor to get to explore that. I mean, Wayun is kind of a conniving villain, but in that episode we got to see a more vulnerable, gentle side to him, and I was just wondering what it was like to explore that.
Well, it's all the writing. It's really down to writing to be able to explore it. And they were such a rich, starting with Ira Stephen Bear, such a rich and deep core of writers for our show. That episode meant especially a lot to me because to be stuck in a shuttle with René Aubergenois, my dear friend, for a whole week was really meaningful to me because honestly I kind of wouldn't be in the Star Trek world if it weren't for René seeing me on set. We'd done theater together and he saw me on set in Meridian, I believe it was. I played a oneer, like a species that never came back. But he was getting ready to direct for the first time, and it was a Ferengi episode. And he suggested me, and that was the beginning of my real sort of time at recurring on Deep Space Nine. And so, to me, it was a wonderful sort of rounding out and completion of that.
We were lucky to have you, Jeff.
Well, thank you, but thank you. I love that episode. It's a lot to me.
Thank you. Yes, over here.
Commander Strand, an honor.
Another damn Jeff character.
That's right. What are we doing with all these pigskins?
I wanted to ask you which was the more fun antagonistic relationship to play, Quark and Brunt or Damar and Wayun, because those are both delightful to watch on screen.
Well, you know, this was a complete and total joy to work with Armin, and this was hell on wheels right there. I'm kidding. We had a great rapport, our two characters, because we had to get along. Here, not so much.
It was always our dream to have an episode where just two characters met each other and had
Yes. Walk down a hall and they pass each other and go, don't I? No, never mind. And keep going.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you. Long live Andoria.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I've had the privilege of meeting all of you at one time or another, but this question is for Vaughn. My favorite character you played was a beer connoisseur on the January 2017 cruise. My question is, what's your favorite character?
Yeah,
Well, that was a lot of fun, actually.
Of the 12 that you've played.
Yeah, well, that's hard to say really, because most of them were pretty dynamic guys, but,
Your one fan is happy.
I'd have to say it was the captain of the Enterprise in The Mirror Darkly. And, not only was it my favorite character, but it was Newsweek's favorite episode of that series, was In the Mirror Darkly, where I got to play the captain of the Enterprise. I was thinking about it, and my first 4 hours of shooting was making out with Hoshi. You know, how can you complain about it?
Tell the story when you went home.
Oh, yes. I've been married for 45 years, by the way. Thank you. Best 5 years of my life. I went home, and my wife is a teacher. She's now she's retired, but she was correcting papers, and she had them all over the table. I came home and I said, "Chris, you won't believe what I did today." And I told her, and I thought that was going to be the last day of our marriage. She just took her pencil and she broke it. She said, "I cannot tell you how much I don't want to hear that right now." That's what happened. That's how my marriage ended. No, I'm kidding. We're still very happily married. Well, happily married.
Okay. On this side,
Hi. This is for each one of you guys. Who was your major musical influence when growing up? And did you ever get to meet your heroes?
Max?
Oh, Max. I remember when I first heard the Beach Boys. That's all. That's all I can tell you. Someone else heard the Beach Boys. I remember when I first heard the Beach Boys, and I don't know why that had an effect on me. I thought their music was fun, and I'm sure there's a more deeper answer in there somewhere, but we don't have all day. So.
Jeff?
Beatles, never been in one of them.
Kitty did.
I'm envious. People say I'm jealous. That's not correct. I'm envious.
Okay. I don't think I had a musical mentor. I don't sing or dance. But I did have the extreme pleasure to work with Richard Rodgers. The last musical he ever wrote, I was in, and he wrote my footnote in musical comedy history is the last song that Richard Rodgers wrote. Most of you don't know who Richard Rodgers is. But he wrote for me. It was a duet, so that's
Oklahoma. South Pacific.
South Pacific.
What am I missing?
Carousel.
Carousel.
Yeah. So I had that, and then years later, I had a dear friend who was dating Carole King, and so Carole King and Phil and Kitty and I got together often. And I remember sitting there one day, just as close as I am to Casey, and somebody was playing her music, and I thought, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Carole King, and that was like 4 months into our relationship. So I was lucky, but I don't sing or dance, so I didn't have any mentors.
Casey.
There's a few of them. I was weaned on Crosby, Stills and Nash when I was young.
Yes.
James Taylor can still make me weep. I actually had I worked on a brand new show that didn't go anywhere with Stephen Sondheim, Leonard Bernstein, and Jerome Robbins. And these, if you don't know who they are icons and gods in the musical world.
And Jerome Robbins just passed away.
Yeah, and it's just those were the ones that sort of sculpted my work. But I also have to say that I was sitting next to Tony Bennett at a friend's house one time, and I could almost not stop vibrating. And he said to me, "Hey Casey, I'm going to do a new album. You got any ideas?" But and I just saw him again. I was just speaking with an old friend backstage who played in Paso Robles. He was 92, and he did a concert, an hour and a half concert, and never stopped saying the whole thing. So anyway, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's quite a bit for me too, really. My mother began it with singing in the car. As we're going to Bakersfield, she'd say, "Okay, just pick a note that's a little bit different than the one I'm doing." And she kind of taught me to harmonize there, you know. When I was 5, she also played the piano a lot. But the first musicians I really enjoyed, Elvis Presley, for one, you know, and the Beatles, of course, and the Beach Boys. There was a big contest in my school. The girls were all going, "Beatles, Beatles," and the guys were all going, "Beach Boys, Beach Boys." And I did meet one of my icons. Well, Joan Baez lived 3 houses down from me where I grew up. But I was moving some furniture for somebody in my pickup truck, and they were getting a couch from Joni Mitchell.
Oh, wow.
So I met Joni. She was very nice. "Hi, can I get you anything? You know, do you want some water or a beer? Would you like a beer? A glass of wine?" I said, no, thank you. I'm doing fine."
He said, "I can drink a case of you."
Yeah, that's right.
Did you know that Andy Robinson's wife used to manage Judy Collins? Yeah.
Yes, over there.
Okay, so I happen to adore the Rat Pack. It is my favorite thing every convention since you started. It was my favorite part of the cruise, and I think it is absolutely brilliant.
Well, thank you. No pressure.
No pressure. But has any of you ever written some lyrics to a song and thought, "Ooh, that's just a little bit too far, I can't do that"?
You mean racy lyrics?
Yeah, or something, something Star Trek related, and just thought, "Nah, I really can't push it that far."
Well, I mean, there's a lyric in Batleth Baby, which is a little racy. What is the one I say? The first time I met her, it was such a trip. It was on her ship. She rolled over onto her back and gave a little smile. I jumped onto that pony and I rode it for a while. That's a little racy, isn't it? So,
We leave the blue stuff to Ethan.
Yes.
He's the one who brings in, bulldozers worth of dirt.
Yes.
Well, I will tell you, the boom, 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 it's actually called boomity, boomity, boom, is a little racy. It's about, kind of, I hate to see you go, love to watch you walk away things. We're going to do it anyway. Hell with it. It's not, it's nothing that would insult a child. And racy's okay, I think. It's dirty. It's not too good.
It's a timely question because we go on stage at 7 o'clock tonight. That's a lot. To me, that's a very different time slot than 9:30. Which
what, you think they're going to listen to something differently at 7
That's
than they would at
crazy,
9?
Max.
I think kids might be here at 7 o'clock that would not be here at 9:30.
I think your nails are maybe...
Yeah,
There's
you
the one,
should
your
read
nails
those
are what
nails.
scary me.
Those are
So
really
it's a very good question, and the truth is, yes, I am thinking about what we can do and maybe shouldn't do.
Well, I think my favorite is probably "How do you solve a problem like Jadzia?" I thought that was like, wow. So anyway, thank you all.
She meets a pretty miss.
They share a lesbian kiss.
Couldn't they just as well have shaken hands?
No!
How do you solve a problem like Jesse? Anyway.
Also, now a visitor is in our show tonight, so that may have an effect on our behavior.
Thank you for that question.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, over here.
Hello. So this is actually my first con, so this will be my first.
Oh, wow.
How come?
finally saved up enough. So I'm really looking forward to tonight. My question is to Jeff. You've played so many characters. You've got the top spot for the amount, so...
No,
one of the top spots. Yes, of course, I'm sorry. My first con, and I'm starstruck, sorry. But my question is, when are you going to show up on Discovery, and Picard, and Lower Decks?
You have to be asked to dance. That's the answer. It's really, thank you for making me feel like I have the power, but I don't.
We can only hope.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi guys, it's good to see you all again. My name is Morgan. I was going to ask about inspirations, but someone already did, so instead I'll ask about my other favorite thing, which is books. If you could,
Why? It's a great question.
What is one book you think everyone should read?
That's a great question. They're stumped.
The complete works of William Shakespeare. I took it from you.
You guys, do you have a favorite book or just too many to name?
There's a lot of really good books, but there's one about Teddy Roosevelt that I recently read. It's called River of Doubt.
You guys read that? Yeah.
Have
I
you?
like that.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
a
that a lot.
fabulous book. And it ends up killing him, this trip that he takes on the River of Doubt. He goes through cannibals and traitors who are trying to, kill other people so they can survive. It's just a harrowing experience, and I think you'd like it. So read that.
Anybody read The Time Traveler's Wife? That's one of the, I wept at the end of that thing. I didn't think a love story could still make me tear up. Fantastic. And also one of the singularly most beautifully written books I've read in years is My Brilliant Friend. Anybody read that? Those are the 4 novels by Elena Ferrante. They don't even know where that is. She doesn't do it, but it's a story about 2 young girls growing up in Naples. Beautifully, beautifully written.
The Prey novels by John Sanford are all very entertaining. Yeah, they're really kind of men's books, but I think everyone would love them.
Good question, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
So my question is for Armin. You had so many great moments on DS9 with Renee. What was that like? And then years later, you got to be on Boston Legal and work with him again. So that was another amazing couple of episodes.
Thank you. Renee and I had worked together prior to Deep Space Nine on a play called Petrified Forest, where I didn't much care for him. And so when I got cast as a Quark, and he was cast as Odo, my initial reaction was, well, they don't like each other in the script, that won't be hard. Unfortunately, or fortunately, absolutely fortunately, they put us next to each other in the makeup trailer, and so we bonded together. He's one of my closest friends. That happened pretty quickly. The writers saw that pretty quickly, so they began to write for us. He is not only a dear man, I think everybody on stage would agree with that, and I think they will also agree, he's one of the finest actors I've ever worked with.
Absolutely.
And so it's a great joy and privilege, really a privilege, to work with him as often as I did. Now, as to Boston Legal, I wanted to be on that show because Renee was on it, and when they finally cast me on it, I was asked. The second episode that I did, they wrote a scene that I called Renee up immediately after I got the script and said, "This is a Quark and Odo scene. Why is this in the script? This is Quark and Odo." He said, "Oh, that's just a gag, Armin. They'll never do it." But he was wrong. He often is wrong. We did it, and there was the gaffer was sitting on a desk. Renee and I, the gaffer was sitting here. I was sitting over there. Renee was over here. And the gaffer, who knew Renee really well, didn't know me at all, said, "My God, you guys played that scene as if you've been doing it for years." So it's a great it's a great honor for me to have worked with Renee.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
My question is for Max Grodenchik and Armin Shimerman. I was wondering if your
Look at
character...
that, Max, you got top billing.
I was wondering if your characters were based off of George and Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
I never heard that before, but that is very, very, it's a fascinating comparison to me, because I think there is something of the George and Lenny relationship in the Cork-Ron relationship. I never thought about it before. So it wasn't based on it, but I see where someone would see that. Yeah.
I will echo what Max said. I never thought of that either, but that's a very good analogy. Yeah, exactly. Wonderful observation. Wonderful observation.
I'm going to ask Ira Bear about that. Our executive producer, the head writer, and showrunner, and all that. I want to ask him if that came into his thinking when he wrote those roles.
I will say that oftentimes the writers would see dailies and form relationships on the show based on things they saw in the dailies. So probably what they saw Max and I doing off camera was probably a great inspiration for not only our relationship, but the enormous growth and arc of Max's character. The enormous journey that Rom took, which is to me one of the best things about our show.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, my question is for everyone. You've all done incredible work both on Trek and outside of it. I wanted to ask, because you've stepped into alien species that have been done before, but you redefined how we saw them. For each of you, what was the linchpin as an actor that let you take ownership of that and make it more than just a mask?
That's a great question.
Well, the first alien character I did was a Klingon on Next Generation. And yeah, thank you.
His other one fan over there.
Yeah. Do you guys know each other? But I was not long out of Vietnam, or at least it didn't seem like I'd been home very long. And these guys are warriors. And that's it. That's what did it for that coming up.
Casey?
It was interesting, my first time in that makeup. You can imagine what it's like. You know, you sit there for hours and they can put all this stuff on you. You don't know how you look, how you're going to, if any emotion's going to come out from what you say. And I have to say, Mark Alimo was very instrumental, and because he to me was the epitome of a Cardassian. You know, I mean, he just. How he looks, how he embodied that role. And then I remember the second episode I did was that episode where everybody was dressed up like a Klingon. Remember that, you guys? I don't know, all of the guys, and Mark and I were taking...
All of them hated it.
Yeah, of course, they all had to. But I had a big, long speech, the longest that I had to do, and Avery, you know, Avery's pretty cool. You don't mess with Avery, but Avery just, I was having trouble with this speech, with the words, and he just looked at me, you know, hulking Avery, and he just went, so basically just breathe, just stay down there and breathe. And then what I discovered, just let the damn costume do the work.
Oh yeah.
You know how much trust you have to just be able to stand there and have confidence that you are interesting enough to be in front of the camera or in front of 2,000 people or whatever. It takes an enormous amount of craft, I think, to be able to just say, yes, I'm interesting enough to tell this story. And so much of it is those great costumes and that great makeup.
And the makeup, I gotta tell you, that was too short an answer I gave you. It was for that one character, and really, the makeup is a major part for, like the Klingon, they have these big foreheads, and I thought, well, he grew up butting heads with a goat in the backyard, you know, practicing for that warrior life that he led. And the Cardassians, they have those long, you know, strange things on their necks, and I thought, well, this guy is just so uptight that his neck has become extended, and The Romulan had a relationship with humans because of the children that we had at home. And there's all various things that add to the character, and you just have to find them. But the makeup is a big deal.
Armin?
I will echo what the two guys just said. I remember the exact moment when I realized what you said, Casey, that I don't have to act this. When I played the first Ferengi on Next Generation, it was a horrible performance, and it was sort of like Richard III, because I thought, this is how an alien does, this is what he does. But I remember thinking maybe I should do that for Quark, knowing full well that I shouldn't. But I remember one day, specifically, it's very clear in my mind, I was standing in my trailer, peeing, and there's a mirror right over the urinal.
Were you in front of the urinal when you...
I just said I was right in front of it. But thank you for reminding me. I washed my hands.
Oh boy, here we go.
And I remember looking in the mirror and looking at the makeup and going, I don't have to do anything. The makeup sells it. The makeup is the Ferengi. I just have to be me. I just have to find that part of me that is the same as Quark's.
Wait, you're that greedy? You're not that greedy. But I got to tell you, also, before we go on, my first time, 1986 was that first episode of, I think it was 86. I said to the director, he said, well, what is it you're thinking right now? And I said, you know, I'm trying to let the makeup do the acting. I'm trying to let the makeup do the acting. 25 years later, I'm on the set doing another guy, and I hear the director tell an alien, let the makeup do the acting. So I guess that stuck with them a little bit.
You're brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
We unfortunately have to wrap this up, so you have a quick answer, Jeff, to the question? Or?
I'll just concur with everything everybody has said. We were in such incredible artistic hands. Costume, the makeup. When I first did Wei Yun, I had really no idea what a Vorta looked like. And I'm called at 4 o'clock in the morning. And they start slapping things on me, and really all I have at that point are the words of a script. And it's quite frightening, because you're in so they start applying, and it was in my trailer. 10 minutes before a blocking rehearsal, and I'm finally in my full regalia, and I look in the mirror and I make real clear, instinctive choices based on what I am being
looking at. Use your words.
No, it's more than just looking at, okay? It's more like I'm absorbing the totality of the look, and you just have to trust it's true. But it would not be successful if we weren't in the hands of true artists in the makeup trailer and in the wardrobe department. I mean, they are our angels on our shoulders.
Has Michael Westmore already appeared this week?
Yes, yesterday.
There you go.
You ought to cheer him. Incredible.
Incredible.
Well, I'm sorry we have to go, but we do. Thank you all so
Let Max in.
Oh, sorry about Max. I forgot he was there.
So
sorry.
We're all sorry about Max.
I'm so sorry we have to go, but we do. I do remember my first audition for Next Generation. I asked some people I knew what a Ferengi was, and they did their impression of Ferengi, and they were so over the top, so loud, both of them. And I went in there and I said to the producers, I said, I don't know what a Ferengi is, but I'm going to do what my friends told me a Ferengi is. And I was loud and over the top. And when I was done, one of the producers said, tell those two guys we might have jobs for them. and so I knew if I could be that bad an actor in the audition and get the job, which I did, and get the job, then I felt very safe to do whatever I needed to do with the material they gave me. It was like I couldn't be bad. No comment.
All right, thank you all so very much. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Lolita.
Thank you we'll see you tonight.
And welcome back. That was an awesome panel, and the Rat Pack is going to be playing, or was playing, later that night. I was really excited to see
Rat Pack
the
is a top-notch performance with all these people. These are the Star Trek actors that are stage actors first, musical performers first, and highly friggin' talented.
Highly talented.
Exactly.
Oh my God. The Rat Pack show that they put on at the convention was so funny and so good. They have so much talent. It's just so amazing.
It's good stuff. Even though some of it's a little blue. A little bit blue, but the hilarious stuff, and I think it's just so much fun.
It's really, really good.
And they make fun of themselves too.
I love that. Yeah. It's just so enjoyable.
It is.
And then during the panel too, I thought it was interesting how Armin was saying that he is at the Shakespearean Festival right now at Cedar City. Now, that is a huge event that happens every year in the summer. Cedar City is in Utah, right near Bryan Head, and they have a huge Shakespearean Festival where they show Shakespearean plays in either a theater or in an outside theater. They actually have an outside theater, and they do all sorts of things, Macbeth, Hamlet, everything, and he is a part of that, and that right there makes me want to go to Cedar City and check out the Shakespearean Festival, just so I could see him.
Yeah.
Really, really excited about that.
To be or not to be?
To be or not to be. To be a Klingon or not to be a Klingon.
That is the question.
Kapya!
So anything else interesting?
I think people just need to go to the Rat Pack live stream, and they just need to see it for themselves. I mean, we could sit here and talk forever, but it won't do it justice unless they just saw it themselves.
There you go.
Go check it out and join us for the next panel.
And make it so.
And make it so.